What's one thing that every overthinker wants in a relationship? Now, of course, there could be many answers, but this one thing, every overthinker needs it in a relationship, and that's reassurance. I posted this reel sometime back where I was talking about how I don't think it's toxic to ask for reassurance, and so many of you said, listen, we're sending this to a partner, but tell us how to ask for reassurance. And I was like, this is a great idea because a lot of times we talk about like expressing ourselves and expressing our vulnerabilities, but we never speak of how to do that and what's the right way of asking for reassurance. Now you might say like, listen, there shouldn't be like a right way of asking for reassurance. Like it almost seems like it's a given. I should be given reassurance, but just having a nicer way of asking for it, or just like having a proper mechanism of how two partners give each other reassurance, it makes the process easier. Now, according to my understanding, I think reassurance can be of three different types. One is like everyday reassurance. So every day you express to your partner that you love them, like saying I love you every single day. Guys, that's the bare minimum. Like if there's some person in your life who's like, why do I have to say I love you every day? I literally said that yesterday. What? Everybody says I love you like all the time. So why is it such a difficult task for you? Everyday reassurance, it could be like saying I love you, or expressing how much that person means to you, or like asking them if they've eaten or not, making an effort to spend time with them, to talk to them. All of these things count as everyday reassurance. Then there's reassurance on the special days, be it like birthdays, anniversaries, your partner achieves a milestone, or when you decide to go out of your way to do something different or to surprise them. When two people get too comfortable in a relationship, which is great, like that's something you should aim for. Sometimes this comfort is confused for being taken for granted. So these gestures for special days, these like bigger reassurances every once in a while can really keep that spark alive in your relationship. And then there's the third kind of reassurance, the most important, the one that causes the most fights, and it is reassurances for any past negative experiences. Maybe your partner has trust issues from a past situation, maybe they get anxious about a certain topic or conversation, or maybe they have certain perceptions that make them anxious about certain things. And how do you reassure your partner in those situations is what will make or break your relationship. Trust me, guys, like when your partner is in that situation where they're extremely vulnerable, but they also have this guard up and they're like anxious about 100 things, how you deal with that in that particular situation, and how your partner deals with you when you're in that situation, is what makes or breaks your relationship. And if you've got that thing right, which is a process, like, because you can never get it right, like it's something that you learn. Relationships are never predictable. Every 15 days something new could come up in your relationship, or you could realize that 6 months into dating this person, you could realize that this person suddenly is getting anxious about something. Like there's always going to be something or the other happening. How do you deal with that is what makes or breaks your relationship. And anyway, guys, every 15 days some retrograde is happening, some eclipse is happening, and it always affects couple. Like every 15 days I see this post about, if you survive these next 3 months, your relationship will thrive forever. And I'm like, this is happening every 15 days. What are we supposed to do? No worries. We will just talk about it here.
You're listening to Overthinking This by Ocean.
Hi guys, my name is Ocean. Welcome to Overthinking This. This is a podcast where all of us overthinkers come together and we talk about things that only overthinkers think about. So we are oversharing, we are overthinking, but we are not judging. If you haven't yet, please join the club. You can subscribe to the podcast, you can follow the podcast, you can follow the Instagram pages. Do all of that and join the club because you'll have so much fun here. On today's episode, we're talking about reassurance, especially for overthinkers. And listen, I genuinely believe that every person is an overthinker, and once upon a time, it was such like a cool thing to be an overthinker. Literally every other person was using this word to describe themselves, and now the trend has sort of faded out. But us guys, us overthinkers, we're still here and we're talking about things that matter to us. We're talking about reassurance today, and why is it even more important for overthinkers? Well, that's because us overthinkers, we have this tendency of wanting to know everything. Like we want to know the entire picture, all the information. We're very uncomfortable with like gaps in information, with like missing pieces of information. And of course, our brains love to fill in that missing information. We're staying up till 3 a.m. sometimes thinking about what happened, how it happened. But there are moments where you cannot do that for yourself. Like you need someone else to reassure you. You need someone else to give you that proof of, oh, this is why it happened. And that is where reassurance becomes so important in relationships. Okay, now let's get right into how do you ask for reassurance. The first point is a cliche. It's all about communicating. Listen, you need to be honest to your partner about, I think this is something that bothers me. I think this is something that makes me anxious. I have a certain bad memory associated to this. Would it be okay if anytime you do this, you can just keep me in loop and I would feel more comfortable? Communication is the key. It's a cliche, but it's literally the basic foundation of any relationship. You need to tell your partner how you feel about things. And if your partner is telling you about these things, listen. But the thing about communicating your needs is not what you're saying, it's how you're saying it. The way you're saying the things that you want is extremely important. Listen, I'm also an overthinker and I understand. Sometimes we get anxious and we like to believe that whatever our brain is telling us is the truth. Sometimes we are so afraid of being hurt that we go into this like whole defense guard moment where we think that if I'm hurting, it's completely valid to hurt someone else. Or in that moment when you're extremely angry, your partner may completely dismiss your feelings because of how you're saying it. And I'm not saying that they are correct and you are wrong, like, because I understand where you are coming from as well. Like, I go through those phases where I'm like, yes, I am really angry about this thing and I deserve to be angry, and you should be focusing on why I'm angry and not how I'm angry. But it's just better to have a better way of communication in that sense. Don't assume, ask. Whenever you have a question or a doubt in mind, don't assume. Don't assume that your partner was doing this because of that and was there because of that. Just ask them. Just ask them what happened and how it happened. And I know you might not want to believe them at first, so ask them to prove it to you. And I know it sounds so bad when I say it like this. I know it might sound like you're such a terrible person, like you're trying to control them. But the point is, it's so much better to do this than to like just break off a relationship for nothing. Like, if the other person did not do anything wrong, then they can easily tell you and give you proof as to why it is what it is. And it's so much better to like have the channel of communication where, oh, like you want proof of where I was? Fine, I can give that to you. Because I know I was not doing anything wrong and I want to save this relationship. Like, that's so much better than breaking of the relationship. And the other thing is pretty similar. Discuss, do not allegate. Do not give a verdict. I know you've been overthinking about something for a very long time in your brain and you've come up with this verdict, you've come up with like your concluding statement, and you just want to like put it out there to your partner and want your partner to agree with it so that you can satisfy yourself and be like, I was overthinking about this and this is exactly what it was, and now I can get into the grieving process. But that might not be true. Listen, as much as I say overthinking is not an enemy but a friend, it is one of those friends that lies to us a little too much. Ask first, have a conversation first. If you just add words like, I think this is why it's happening, I feel like it's happening because of my past experiences, the sentence becomes so much better for you and for your partner. Another important thing that I want you to keep in mind, my friends, is that not everything is a sign. Listen, I know sometimes when we're overthinking, our brain just wants whatever we're overthinking to be proved right. Like, it's a literal psychological phenomenon where when you overthink about something too much or you think about something too much, you want it to come true so that you can prove to yourself that you are great at assuming things and then making them come true. Even if that thing might be extremely bad for you, a part of you would want that thing to come true so that you can prove to yourselves that you are great at this thing. Listen, if God forbid something wrong is happening and the truth has to come to you, it will appear to you in the most magical ways. If it has to appear to you, it will appear to you right in the face. It won't come to you as these vague signs or whatever. The truth will come to you if it has to. But please do not tense your brain with like taking everything as a sign. But if it has to be a sign, it will be so clear you won't have any confusion. Another great practice, when you are in the best of your moods, when you're not fighting or something wrong is not going on, sit down and discuss your problem solving mechanisms. Talk to each other about what makes you insecure, what are your triggers, and what can you do mutually to figure these things out. It's going to be a process. Every now and then you might have to refresh it, but it's such a healthy practice. Like, just knowing what triggers your partner and your partner knowing what triggers you, and then you having some basic mechanisms or some basic rules. I know rules sounds like a very harsh word, but like just some basic rules that help you navigate your relationship better. Now, so far I've been talking about how to ask for reassurance, but let's assume you are on the flip side. You are dating an overthinker who's asking for reassurance. What do? Number one, don't take things personally. If your partner is overthinking about something or is hurt or has gone into defense mode, and I know sometimes overthinkers can act up. I know I speak from personal experience. Sometimes you might think it's so difficult to deal with these people, but don't take things personally. Just understand that they're coming from a place of insecurity, perhaps, and they just need some reassurance. I know sometimes questions being asked can seem like a personal attack, like as if I'm not doing enough for you. You also want to know more, like you want reassurance, you want this and that. But just know that it's part of your relationship. Also, just keep in mind that today it's your partner who's overthinking and asking for reassurance. It could be you tomorrow. When it comes to reassurance, roles are not fixed. They keep switching. Every once in a while, it's like one person wants reassurance and 15 days later it could be someone else. It's like a constant process. So treat your partner the way you want them to treat you. But I also want to mention two things. Number one, of course, I've been like so far justifying like it's okay to ask for reassurance. It's okay if you feel anxious or whatever. But getting toxic, getting abusive in no shape or form is okay. Listen, I will always vouch for you guys. Like I'll say go ask for reassurance, do this and do that. But if you're getting toxic, if you're getting abusive, then this equation doesn't work. The other thing I want to point out as a friend of yours, of course, it's great to ask for reassurance. In fact, I think you should ask for reassurance. But also realize that too much of anything is bad. Reassurance is almost like any other addiction. Sometimes we get addicted so much that we cannot function without it. Sometimes, like any other addiction, you start with small doses of reassurance and you want more and more and more and more. Think of it this way. Reassurance is not your constant friend. Reassurance is just some help you need to get to a better place where you might not need reassurance anymore. This example might sound very silly, but imagine you've got fever, right? So when you get fever, you take a medicine for it to go away, maybe for like 3 days, let's say, but you don't continuously take a medicine so that you never get a fever again. Think of reassurance like that. You need reassurance when you need it. Like obviously everyday reassurance is a different thing. That's more about like, of course that exists. I'm talking about more so reassurance when you're feeling insecure or whatever. You've got to realize that of course it's great to have a partner who can reassure you at all times, and it's lovely and touch wood if you have those partners, but you've got to also understand that if it's turning into an addiction, it's just trapping you in a box. And then usually that's not where it stops, right? Like sometimes it's also about you cannot post a picture without asking 10 other people if it's good enough. You cannot wear something out unless you've asked 10 other people if it looks good on you. And slowly and gradually it becomes so bad that you cannot function without asking 10 other people if what you're doing is correct or right. And there will be moments where someone else, even the people closest to you, might not be able to give you the reassurance that you want. Some days the other person is just not on the page that you want them to be, and they could say anything and everything but not what you want to hear. So sometimes that reassurance does come from within. Sometimes it's also about realizing that you might not get the reassurance you want, and in that situation you must be able to handle yourself. Well, I hope this podcast episode so far has reassured you on the topic of reassurance. But now it's time to discuss some questions. So each episode we answer some questions. Sometimes I get them in DM, sometimes in the comment section. And usually I look out for them and then answer them in these episodes. It's been some while though, so I'm very sorry for that. But the first question is, hey Ocean, I love your content. It's great to have someone who can tell things about relationships to keep it healthy. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that you feel that way. I've been in a long distance relationship with a girl for the past 2 years and we never had any problems with each other. But for some days we're fighting because what I feel is she's too comfortable with her male friends. Like I won't go into detail, but they flirt or resting head on shoulder, etc. And I know the other guy likes her, but she still thinks I'm overreacting. I just want your opinion on this, please. Firstly, kudos to you for running a long distance relationship successfully. Like I have massive respect for people who are in long distance relationships because it can just be so difficult sometimes. I don't think you're overreacting. It's completely normal to feel insecure about these things. Flirting when you are in a relationship, personally for me, is a big no. Healthy flirting, oh it was just fun, we were just joking, that's not it. Like flirting is a big no. Being with people that you know have feelings for you unnecessarily, spending time with people that you know have feelings for you unnecessarily, again, is a big no. It's all about having strong boundaries. I've come to realize that not having strong boundaries is the first step to messing up any relationship. So in this context, I honestly don't think you're overreacting. Like it's completely normal to have questions about these things. Nobody would be okay with their partner flirting with someone else. Also, I'm very sorry if there's any disturbance or noise in this episode because There's literally a man hanging from a rope outside my window, like doing some restoration work or something, and uh, yeah, it's awkward. I'm looking at him hanging from the sky doing this, and he's looking at me talking into a camera on a mic. Guess we both have interesting stories to share today. Question number 2 for this episode is, hey, I have a query. If my partner saw his ex in an event or something like that and he just greets her, is it okay or am I thinking too much? People usually have very different opinions when it comes to being friends with an ex, and that is to each their own. But let's say in your relationship you're not okay with your partner staying friends or staying in touch with their ex, and that's fair enough, rightfully so, and that's a conversation. Now, what happens if they accidentally bump into their ex? Now, if they were at an event and they just happened to meet, I think it's okay if, like, she's the one who came up to him to say hi and he just responded to that. Oh my god, like, just as I'm talking about this, I sort of realize where you're coming from. Girl, I understand where you're coming from, because I sort of gave it more thought. Like, initially I was just going to be like, yeah, I mean, they just greeted hi and then they left off and that's fine. But then it just hit me that, yeah, girl, I get it. It can be really difficult to digest because you were not there and suddenly, like, you weren't, probably you were not even expecting it to happen. But I would still say that, if it just was like just a hi and that's it, like the conversation did not go anywhere from that, it's completely fine. If your partner went up to their ex, even though you're not okay with him keeping in touch, then I would, like, not be very happy with that. But still, like, a conversation could fix it. As long as there was no unnecessary conversation, there was nothing more to it than just like hi and hi. And that also just depends on, like, what you guys have decided on with staying friends with an ex previously. But I would say, like, baseline, if it was just an interaction, just hi, hello, that's it. Like, that's fine. It's completely okay. And if your partner is telling you honestly about it, great. Like, if your partner is hiding interactions and keeping it a secret, then that's a huge red flag. But I feel like if your partner told you about it and it was just an hi, hello, I know, like, listen, I won't even pretend that it's not a weird feeling to sit with, because it just sort of hit me when I was talking about it right now. It's just maybe one of those things where you sit with this uncomfortable feeling for a while, and for the next time, you'll know better. Well, that's it for the questions for today. If you guys have any more questions, please DM them to me, leave them in my comment section, leave them under this video on Spotify, however you would like to convey your questions, and we could talk about it here in the episode. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. Once again, please follow on all social media platforms, as you know the drill goes. And if you like this episode, then give this podcast 5 stars. Nothing less, only 5 stars. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have an amazing time. I will see you super soon. Chalo. Bye.